Hi guys, welcome to my channel Creatively Expressive. Here on my channel I share DIYs, thrift flips, budget decor, and all things creative. So a couple of weeks ago I decorated for my niece's quinceanera. We were trying to keep this party on a budget, so in order to keep costs down, I DIY'd just about everything in just a matter of a few weeks. In today's video I will be sharing a few of those DIYs with you, as well as some of the party setup. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. And now without any further ado, let's get into the video. For the first project, we will be making the centerpieces. I am using these metal hoop centerpieces with a wood base that I got from Amazon for the centerpieces. And the first thing I am going to do is paint the bases with gold spray paint. Then I am going to attach the ring to the base. Then I purchased some mixed green florals and green roses from Amazon to decorate the ring centerpieces. And I also bought some greenery to go with the florals. The greenery included 18 large stems with 7 sets of leaves on them, and I am going to cut those leaves off of the stem. Now I'm going to start attaching the leaves to the ring by wrapping floral wire around the leaves and the ring. I'm going to put the first set of leaves on there lined up straight with the ring. Then I will add 2 more, slightly below the first and at a slight angle. Now I'm going to add 2 more sets of leaves, slightly below the last 2 sets, also at an angle. For a total of 5 sets of leaves on the one side. Now on the opposite side, I will attach 2 sets of leaves, placing them at an angle. Now I'm going to start adding in the flowers. I'm going to take one of the flowers, figure out how high up on the ring I want it to go, and then bend the stem where I want the bottom of the stem to be. Now I'm going to take another flower and pull the head off of the stem. Then I will cut the stem on the first flower on the other side of the bend I made, making that side of the stem about the same length as the other side of the stem. And then I will glue the second flower head onto the stem of the first flower. Then I will do that with the rest of the flowers, slightly varying the heights. Now I'm going to use one of the extra stems that I have to attach the 3 sets of 2 flowers to the side of the ring that has more leaves on it. And I will do that by wrapping the stem around the centers of the flower stems, and then cut the rest of the stem off with the wire cutters. Then I'm just going to arrange the flowers so that they look pretty. Now I'm going to combine 2 flowers on one stem together for the other side of the centerpiece. But for this side I will make the stems a bit shorter, and I will only be using 3 flowers and 1 little bunch of berries. And I will attach these two sets to the ring the same way I did the other flowers, using an extra flower stem. Those berries were falling off to one side, so I used another piece of a floral stem to keep them in place in the center against the ring. Now I'm going to place a cylinder vase on top of that center base and put a flameless LED candle inside of the vase. And you can find these vases at Dollar Tree and Walmart. Now for project number 2, I will be making light up marquee numbers. You can use a 20 by 30 foam poster board for these, but we wanted them to be taller than 30 inches, so we decided to use this 36 by 48 tri-fold foam board for these. For this, you can freehand draw the numbers on the board or make yourself a printable template that you tape together and trace onto the foam board. But I have one of these old school projectors, so I am going to use it to project the numbers onto the foam board and then trace them. And I used masking tape to tape the foam board to our door so that I could trace them. For marquee numbers, I like to use a font that doesn't have any curved lines to make my life easier. And I am using a font called Varsity Team. Now that I have them traced onto the boards, I will use an X-Acto knife to cut them out. The font I used had a squared off top for the number 1, but I decided to give mine an angle by using a ruler to draw a diagonal line. Also, another little tip is to use a new sharp blade when cutting your numbers out to get cleaner cuts. I started with an older blade but ended up running to the store to get new ones, and I'm glad I did because it was a lot easier to cut out with the new blade. When cutting, I start by slowly cutting through the top layer first so that I can keep the blade lined up with my pencil line. Then once I have the top layer cut, I slide the blade through the foam a little faster to cut through the bottom layer of the foam. Now I'm going to take another piece of the foam board and cut it into a 6-inch wide piece. I will use the 6-inch wide piece for the bottoms of the numbers. I'm going to line up the edge of the 6-inch piece with the edge of the number to mark what length I need to make the 6-inch piece. And I will glue the number to the center of the 6-inch piece so that 3 inches show in the front and 3 inches show in the back. But for now, I will wait to glue that piece on. Now I'm going to start cutting pieces of the foam board that are 3 inches in width. I will start lining up the 3-inch piece with the sides of the number and mark what size I need them to be. And I am starting with the center pieces of the number and working my way out to the outer edges. Once I have a piece cut to fit, I line the bottom edge of the piece with hot glue and then stick it to the number. There are going to be small gaps between some of the pieces that I glue on, and when I have those, I will fill them in with hot glue. And when there are pieces that have two straight edges that touch, I will add glue to the bottom of the piece I am adding, as well as to the side where it will be touching the piece next to it. So here you can see how I made the bottom of the number fatter than all of the other side pieces. And I did that so that they are more stable when stood up. I glued the number to the center of the bottom piece, and now I will glue on the last two side pieces that touch the bottom piece. Then I will repeat all of these steps with the number 1 marquee. Now for the lights. Dollar Tree carries these push lights sometimes. I've gotten them there in the past, but you know that it is hit or miss when it comes to being able to find anything at Dollar Tree. This time we couldn't find them, so we ordered them off of Amazon. These lights are super bright, so what I like to do is spray the fronts of them with frosted glass spray. The first thing I am going to do with the lights is figure out the placement of them. I got a 24 pack of lights and I ended up using 21. 13 for the number 5 and 8 for the number 1. These lights come with a sticky back on them, but I don't want them falling off during the party. So to be sure they stay put, I'm going to remove the paper from the sticky back and then add hot glue to it before sticking it to the number. Now for project number 3, I'm going to be making a bouquet for my niece. To make this, I will be using a 6-inch half styrofoam ball, a wooden dowel that is 3/4 inch in diameter and about 6 3/4 inch long, and green Real Touch roses. I'm going to cut the stems down on the roses to about 1 1/4 inch. Then I am going to find the center of the flat side of the half ball, and I am going to push the dowel against the center to mark a circle on the styrofoam. Then I am going to cut an area out of the styrofoam a little bit smaller than the circle that I marked. Then I am going to push the dowel into the styrofoam. At this point, I decided to make the dowel a bit shorter, and now it measures 6 inches in length. Then I am going to hot glue the dowel into the hole on the bottom of the styrofoam. And I learned how to make this bouquet by watching videos by Bouquets by Nicole, and I will include a link to her channel in the description box below this video. The roses are foam and some of them are a little squished from shipping. So to fluff them out a little bit and make them look fuller and prettier, I will hit them with a little heat from my hairdryer and push the petals out. Now I will start adding the roses to the styrofoam, and I start adding at the bottom edge of the half ball, and I will add roses all the way around the bottom edge. I am sticking the roses into the ball, but I am not pushing them in all the way. I am leaving some of the stems sticking out. You could push them all the way into the styrofoam. Your bouquet will just be a little bit smaller. For the bottom row, I needed 12 roses. Now that I have all the roses placed where I want them, I will start gluing them in place with a low temperature hot glue gun. Now I'm going to start adding in the second row of roses, and I am going to start by adding the first one in a spot between the two roses on the first row. I don't want them lined up right on top of each other. I wait to glue the roses in until after I have the whole row filled, so I can make sure that I get the placement right. And if I don't, I can easily move a rose before it's glued in place. And for the second row, I also needed 12 roses. Now I can glue the roses into place and start on row 3, and again I am placing my first rose in between the two roses on the row beneath it. And for row 3, I used 7 roses. And after completing row 3, I ended up having room for 2 more roses. So for this bouquet, I ended up using 33 roses total. Now to add a little sparkle to the bouquet, I will be adding these diamond rhinestone pins into the center of each rose. Now this next part was the most difficult for me because I am a perfectionist. To cover the bottom of the styrofoam and the handle, I will be using a gold satin ribbon in a 2-inch width and a 1-inch width. I start with the 2-inch ribbon and I cut 7-inch pieces. I'm going to fold one end of the ribbon over and hot glue it down to make a little loop. Now I'm going to cut the opposite ends of the piece into a point. I'm going to glue the ribbon strips to the styrofoam so that the loop is below the roses and the point touches the handle. And cutting the ribbon into a point is supposed to make less bulk at the handle. And each ribbon piece added overlaps the previous piece a little bit. My issue when doing this was trying to get the ribbon points to lie flat against the handle. I just couldn't do it, and I ended up ripping the ribbons off 3 times before I finally decided I wasn't going to be able to make it perfect. So this was my 4th attempt. Now to cover the bottom of the handle, I will cut a circle piece from the 2-inch ribbon. I place the circle on the bottom of the dowel and then I hot glue the sides of it to the sides of the dowel. At this point it was late and I was tired, so I forgot to hit the record button. But I used a 1-inch ribbon to wrap the handle. I glued the end of the ribbon to the bottom edge of the dowel and then I started tightly wrapping the ribbon around the dowel, working my way up to the top. And I make sure to tack the ribbon down with glue as I go to make sure the ribbon does not slip. And I did 2 layers of this ribbon around the handle. The top of the ribbon doesn't look as pretty as I wanted it because I couldn't get the 2-inch ribbon to sit flat against the handle. So the first thing I tried to do to cover that not so pretty part at the top was to glue some of this gold diamond wrap ribbon from Dollar Tree to it. I also added the diamond wrap to the bottom of the handle. I still wasn't super happy with how the top area looked, so I decided to camouflage it by adding 2 big bows. To make a bow, I fold the 2-inch ribbon into a awareness ribbon shape, and then I pinch it together at the center. And the piece of ribbon I used ended up being 23.5 inches long. Since I want to make 2 bows, I will cut another 23.5 inch piece. Now I'll fold the ribbon into an awareness ribbon shape and pinch it together at the center. Then I will wrap a pipe cleaner around the center to hold the bow together. Now I'm going to tie a piece of 1-inch ribbon into a loose knot and wrap it and glue it around the center of the bow. Then I will cut the tails into angles and heat seal the ends with a lighter. Now I'm going to hot glue the bows directly across from each other at the top of the handle. And at this point, I am a lot happier with how it looked. Now my niece wanted me to add these gold butterflies to the bouquet. The butterflies are perforated so that you can bend the wings up to make them look like they are flying. They come with glue dots, so I will stick a glue dot to the bottom of the butterfly and then stick it to the bouquet. I am adding the butterflies to the second row and I am placing one in between 2 roses. Then I will skip 3 roses and place another butterfly in between 2 more roses. So I have a total of 4 butterflies on row 2 of my bouquet. Then I will add one more butterfly to the top center of the bouquet. The glue dots didn't end up holding the butterflies very well, so I ended up going back and hot gluing each one of the butterflies on. Now for project 4, I will be making these little acrylic table signs. We got this set of blank 5x7 acrylic signs on Amazon. I took the wood block bases outside and I spray painted them with gold spray paint. I cut out wording for 3 signs on gold permanent vinyl with my Silhouette Cameo 4 cutting machine. Then I peeled the protective sheet from one side of the acrylic sign. And I used transfer tape to transfer the vinyl to the acrylic. Now I'm going to peel the protective sheet from the back of the acrylic and paint it with classic green satin multi-surface paint by Folk Art. I am using a larger paintbrush and I will brush the paint onto the back of the acrylic sign at a diagonal, and I will leave some of the acrylic unpainted around the edges of the acrylic sign. I ended up doing 2 coats of the paint, and then when it was dry, I added the acrylic signs to the gold painted bases. Now for the setup. This was the night before the party. This area is going to be the photo backdrop. We hung a gold sequin curtain to a backdrop stand, and then I am going to cover 2 balloon column stands with balloons. The stands are telescoping, which I thought was neat when I first bought them, but they're actually kind of a pain in the butt because they retract when you're trying to add your balloons. So I had to have my husband keep them pulled up for me while I was adding the balloons. Now I'm going to set up the round backdrop the day of the party. I hung 2 gold curtains on the stand, and I am going to swag one of them. And I used a zip tie to hold the end of the swag to the stand. Now I made a balloon garland, and I am going to attach it to the stand using 260 balloons, which are those long skinny balloon animal balloons. And I will include a link to the YouTube channel that I love to watch to learn how to work with balloons. And she'll go into a lot more detail on how to make balloon garlands. Now that I have the balloon garland attached to the stand, I am going to fill it in some more with some small 5-inch balloons. I make a little bunch of 4 of the 5-inch balloons. In balloon lingo, it's called a quad. Then I tied 2 of the quads at opposite ends of a half of a 260 balloon, and I used the 260 balloon to attach the little quads to the balloon garland. Then I made a quad of 10-inch balloons in each color, and I am using fishing line to string them together. And I am going to attach this group of balloons to the stand using the 260 balloons, and that will cover up the zip tie that I used to hold that swag in place. And then I will add in some of the little 5-inch balloons. Now we'll add in some more of the bigger balloons where I think it needs it, and then I'm going to decorate the head table. First, I covered the table in a 90 by 132-inch white tablecloth. Then I topped it with a 60 by 120-inch gold sequin tablecloth. And I'm going to use one of the diamond straight pins that I used in the bouquet to pin up the center of the gold tablecloth and create a swag. Now I'm placing a glitter name sign that I made on the center of the table. Then I will put one of the centerpieces just behind it. Then I am going to put 2 cylinder vases filled with water and floating candles on either end of the table. And then 2 gold votive candle holders in front of the cylinder vases. Now for the final reveal. I didn't record it, but I also made these balloon columns that are on either side of the stage. And here's the stage all set up. I also made the name sign out of styrofoam and glitter. Here's the photo backdrop. And here are the guest tables. One side of the hall had rectangular tables and the other side had round tables. Here are the cakes, and yes, I made those too. And I made the welcome sign with an acrylic sheet, the same way I made those little table signs. And here is the bouquet. I absolutely love the way this all came together. Let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful to you. If you liked today's video, some easy and completely free ways to help support my channel and help it grow so that I can keep bringing you more ideas are to subscribe if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, leave me a quick comment or even just an emoji, and share this video with anyone that you think might enjoy it. I truly appreciate your support, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!